Well, and today it's our college basketball preview edition of GCR. Patrick Stevens is in studio with us, and we continue moving along as we catch up with all of the coaches of the local teams that are getting ready to get their seasons underway. Next up on the hot seat, we welcome in the head coach at UMBC. He is Jim Ferry, and he is with us this morning here on the program. Jim, it's Glenn and Patrick. It's great to chat with you. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
What's up, guys? Appreciate you having me.
It's
It's
always
always
good to chat with you,
yeah,
Coach.
absolutely. It means the season's coming up soon.
No
So,
question about it. Before we get into your team, I know you had a special moment recently back up at LIU with a really impressive group. Can you tell us all about that and that team and just how important that group of guys is to you?
oh yeah, well, that's nice of you guys to bring it up. Yeah, um, it was a special group. It's gone down as one of the best teams in the history of the school. They inducted myself and the team into the Hall of Fame uh, for what was start of an unbelievable run of winning three championships in a row. And something that I found out that I didn't even know was uh, the second most wins in the history of the program. I think we're like one win shy of one of Claire B's teams. So that was pretty cool for an older guy like me to see something like that. But it was really special. It was a special night being around those guys. Those guys are a bunch of them are actually still playing professionally, which is kind of neat. But to see them with their children and their wives and obviously talk about the old stories and some of the old stories I can't even share because I
Sure.
was like, no, no, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. But it was really a special night, and to see those guys go on to just be successful, human beings and great dads and great leaders, and it doesn't surprise me at all because of the way they handled what we did and the accomplishment that we had. So it was a pretty special night.
That's really cool. Very cool, Coach. Now, getting into this group this year, I know last year was a tough season, particularly after the first couple of years for you here had been really good. I also know it was a really young team. How much of this year is just about like having a more veteran team and a team that maybe is a little bit more battle tested and ready for the challenge that's ahead of them?
Yeah, we're significantly different. I mean, last year, Glenn, as you guys know, we were, I want to say, the top five or fifth youngest team in the country. And we sure played like it early in the year, man. The ball was flying all over the gym, trying to get the guys to play at the pace we want to play at and lay down the foundation and the culture. Um, and then we had two major injuries right before league play. The two transfers that we brought in, two older guys. Kai Smith was a 6-year senior playing fantastic, broke his elbow. So he played no league games. And then Bryce Johnson, 2 games later, tore his MCL. So he barely played any league games. So we were really going at it with a bunch of young guys. But to be quite honest, man, our guys really fought and got better. We just focused on getting better, which, for those guys that follow my programs, my teams do. We get better every year towards the end of the year. And by the end of the last 10 games, we were playing top 150 basketball, both offensively and defensively. So it was a great group to work with. They were young and energetic and brought me all these gray hairs. But what's nice about that now is, we have 8 returners back. We have several starters back. We're significantly further ahead right now than we certainly were last year at this point, just because the foundation was laid last year. So we have an exciting group. We're certainly building on the end of last year. Um, we've had two challenging scrimmages, exhibition games, whatever you want to call them, where we learned a lot about ourselves, which is really good, really good. So, but the one thing I will say, I really, really like this group, and as a coach in this transfer portal world that we're in, I know a lot of coaches don't always feel that way, but we got a great group of guys, and we're working really hard. And I think you're going to see the difference right from the jump, just how much more competitive we are and how much more seasoned we are.
Jim, I know when we talked after a couple games last season, you certainly gave the indication that your hope was that you would be able to enjoy some continuity with the group that you had recruited last year. And the fact that you have that now, how much do you think in particular that's going to help in terms of your defensive cohesion, which is something that obviously did get better last year toward the end of the season?
Yeah, Pat, that's a great question. I think you're absolutely right, and it did get a lot better. I mean, actually, we finished. I want to say we finished top three defensively in the league, and to say that would have ever happened early in the season, I never would have said it happened. So just having the foundation laid and figuring out who we are, how we need to play defensively to cause disruption, to protect the rim, to rebound the basketball. And again, we're just significantly further ahead in that regard. But it's also on the offensive side, we're
Mhm.
further ahead too. So, you know, in this world, being able to have eight guys back, that's a blessing. And it's just been, we've been able to move along a little bit quicker, guys understanding vocabulary, foundation, and all that stuff. So it's been significantly better. But the season starts next week, so we're going to find out for real.
So you've also, you mentioned Bryce Johnson a little bit earlier. I know he's healthy now, and you throw in Marcus Banks, preseason All Conference guy, and a guy that averaged 15 a game for you last year. Just the state of your backcourt with those two guys in particular, and probably an Ace Valentine who was an All Rookie guy too. How do you feel about that unit at this point?
Yeah, I'll put those guys up against anybody in our league, and then we have some other depth too at the guard spot. That's the one thing I think we do have this year compared to last is the depth. But you're talking about three guards that have experience at the college level, three guards that have experience playing in our system, three guards that are different from each other, but understand each other. If we can get all those guys clicking together at the same time, like I said, I think I'd feel pretty comfortable putting those guys up against anybody in our league.
He is Jim Ferry from UMBC. He's with us here on our college basketball preview show on GCR. Jim, he brings up Marcus Banks. I asked this question of Pat Scarry about Tyler Tejada, and I know that you did lose Deion Brown, right, who went to Boston
Yeah.
College, but for a player that has such a breakout year, I have no doubt that there were options for him, right? Like, what was that like trying to, go back and say, hey, this is the place that you should be, having to re-recruit your own guy, and maybe what does it say about him that he did say, I want to stick around, I want to be a part of this thing moving forward?
Yeah, I think with Marcus, that's probably a better question for him than us, right? But with Marcus, he never flinched. He was at Division I level, then he went to junior college, then he came here, and what he said to us at the end of the year was just like, he had never felt this comfortable in a program. He felt the trust, the love, how we take care of our guys, and the ability to focus on him as a person, not only as a basketball player. So I think for him, it was more of like, okay, let's take the next step. We got, you know, some business we got to complete. And I think he felt this was the best place for him to continue to improve, to help him reach his goals. Listen, this transfer portal world, collective world, the buying of players, it's crazy. And, you have to know who you are, right? And we love our guys and we take care of our guys and they feel very comfortable within our program. But when some people get offered, this crazy money, which happened with Dion, it was an opportunity for him. And again, I love my guys. I'm going to take care of my guys. If that was the best situation for Dion and his family, and that's what they felt, and we were going to support that. So, changing times, we all have to adjust to it right now. But ultimately, it's about the guys that are in your program, right? I want to coach the guys that want to be here. So when you have a guy like that, like Marcus, that definitely had options, Ace had options, but they chose to come back, and I think that shows a lot about my staff, my team, and how we do things culturally in our program.
One guy who had the choice to come to you was Josh Odunowo. Sorry, I'm kind of making sure I'm looking at the pronunciation from Columbia from last year. And
Yeah,
I
I
know
just call him Josh.
that makes you smarter than me.
That.
But that's certainly a guy that was a really solid Ivy League player for you last year, and seeing the box score from the Fordham exhibition with 17 points and 12 rebounds, it certainly seems like he's settling in quite well for you. Just what kind of impact do you think he can have for you?
Yeah, Josh has been fantastic, man. Just as a person, he's awesome. Like the energy he brings every day, his enthusiasm for the game, his experience. I think him coming closer to home was great for him. Our style of play is significantly different than Columbia's, and I think we've done a lot to help him expand his game, and he's really appreciated. And he was a kid, He actually had some options where schools did offer him some money, but he felt like this was just the best situation for him. Like I said, to be close at home, UMBC is a great school, and for him to develop in our program. And he's been, like I said, it's been awesome. Talk about the smile on a kid's face every single day when he comes to practice, and he plays with fantastic energy, and he just really fits into who we are and what we do. So I think we're going to see some really big things for Josh this year.
I'm looking at your schedule, Coach. There's a stretch, I don't think I've ever seen this before, of 6 straight home games, non-conference, in November. Like, I feel like that's kind of unprecedented. Actually, is it seven? Seven straight non-conference home games. How does that come about? I know that you kind of have to pay that back because then there's a road stretch in December after
Yeah, well,
that.
you obviously haven't looked at December.
Yeah, right. No, I understand. I understand.
No, we had to balance it out, man. The scheduling is really, really difficult at this level to get some home games. Um, and the way it fell out, we knew December was going to be, you know, crazy just being on the road. So we tried to load up a little bit as best we could uh, to give ourselves some time to develop at home. We have our own MTE where we bring in some really good teams in Boston University and Howard. I mean, you know, even though we have those games at home, they're not very easy games. It's going to be a challenging stretch as we try to develop as a team. So, but ultimately, it worked out that way. So we're just going to focus one game at a time and see what we can do.
If I could, before that, there's a trip to Penn State, and I just wonder, like, this is the first time back, what that's going to mean to you, and was it something that was, a priority for you that you'd like to go back there at some point?
It wasn't necessarily a priority. Um, I still know a lot of people there. My 2 daughters graduated from Penn State even before I got there. They went to
I
Penn
didn't know
State.
that.
It's a great place. We did some unbelievable things there when we were there, to be quite honest. I mean, we won the NIT championship. The COVID year, we were ranked number 9 in the country. That's normally Penn State football stuff, right? For basketball, to be number 9 in the country. We developed NBA players. So we had some great accomplishments. It's a great place. I really enjoyed my time there. Obviously, I'll look forward to, the night before when I get to see some people that I haven't seen in a while and being back in Happy Valley. But ultimately, when we throw the ball up, it's about us trying to beat Penn State and Penn State trying to beat us.
Coach, the other thing, just in general, right? Like, you bring up the stretch at the end of last year, winning 4 out of your last 6, the way the defense came together. Does it make you feel like this is a team that is ready to get back towards the top of the league this season?
I do. It's not only the experience for the players in the league, but it's also the experience for me, right? I've coached, at this level in the past when I was at LIU, but then I've coached as a head coach in Atlantic 10. I was in the Big Ten as a head coach. Like, come back to this level, you got to figure out your league, right? And obviously, Vermont has been the dominant one. My first year here, we got to the championship game. My second year here, we finished with 18 wins with even some COVID stuff in that year too. And then the league has gotten better. The bottom teams in the league have gotten significantly better. The mains, way better. Binghamton, way better. You got Bryant, UMass Lowell over the past 2-3 years has been fantastic. But I do think this group is a group that we can compete to put ourselves again back in that top half of the league and host playoff games and try to make a run at the championship. But I do think we have the group, and having some guys with more experience, and again, another year playing within our system. I'm really looking forward to this season.
Jim, I want to go back to scheduling for a minute because I know it feels like this has been kind of a theme for you guys. I kind of look at your schedules, and you've done a really good job of kind of minimizing wear and tear travel-wise. Like, I feel like you're probably only on a flight once, maybe twice in non-conference play this year going to Georgia Tech. And so I'm wondering how intentional is that, and how much of a payoff you think that can give you. Not to suggest that it's not hard to go to a Georgetown or an American, but the fact is you're getting on a bus and going down there the day of the game and whatnot. It's a different kind of animal than having a multi-day travel situation.
Yeah, very intentional. Very intentional. Our league travel is brutal. Like we have 2 stretches. We're the most southern team in our league. So our league travel this year, we are going to have, and I'm going to look, it's in January, I believe, where we have 2 out of 3 weeks. We're on the road for 5 days in a row
Mm-hmm.
because we play Thursday, Saturdays in our league, and we only have 9 teams, so it's kind of off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But we've already figured out we cannot get out of Maine on a Saturday afternoon, so we got to travel back Sunday, and then we're home, and then we go on the road and play 2 games, and we can't get out of Vermont. Flights
Mm-hmm.
got canceled twice already. So the travel it's brutal. But on the other side of that, of being intentional to limit travel in non-league, is I think it's important that you play all the local teams. I think it's important. That was the first thing I did when I got here, was to make sure we're playing everybody. I want to play Towson. I want to play Morgan. I want to play Coppin, American, even Loyola. We just couldn't work out the date this year, but we've done it for the past 2 years. I think that stuff's important for the local rivalries. I think it's important for, Baltimore basketball or DMV basketball, whatever you call it. We've always played either Georgetown or Maryland since I've been here, and we're always going to continue to do that. And hey, man, I'd love to see an event downtown. Get a Saturday afternoon where we all go in there and we just have matchups, and we play one team, another team plays other teams. All the fans come downtown to the arena, and we did that at Madison Square Garden when I was at LIU. We play St. Francis, and St. John's would play somebody, and it's a great event. I think that's something we can do because we have great basketball in Baltimore. Um, at the high school level, we have great basketball at the college level. I mean, the players at all these universities locally, the coaches are fantastic. All the guys you've had on the show, really good coaches, really good programs, and I think we should highlight that in like an event, doing it downtown, neutral site, and everybody just go play and bring all the fan bases together.
You're preaching to the choir about that. We are very much in favor of making that happen. This season gets underway Monday afternoon, actually. A 4 o'clock game against Penn State York at Chesapeake Employers Insurance Arena over in Catonsville. And that first local matchup against Coppin State on Thursday the 14th. A couple
Yeah,
opportunities.
and if
Yeah.
you don't mind, like, people are saying, why are you playing at 4 o'clock? Okay. Great example. Our women have a huge game, man. We're getting to play Maryland.
That's
University
right.
of Maryland
That's
is
right.
coming to UMBC, which is awesome. I mean, I wish I can get Maryland to come to So,
Tough sell.
I was trying not to play on that date, but then the next day is election day. We're not going to play. So we moved the game to 4 to support our women and have them be the highlight of that. That's an awesome event for our women's basketball program at our university.
That's really cool.
People, come on out, man. Come out for our game first, and then let's all hang around and support our women against Maryland.
Jim Ferry, looking forward to seeing you out there this season. Thank you for spending time with us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Awesome, guys. Thanks a lot, man. You're the best.
UMBC.
Thank you. Take care.
Head coach Jim Ferry with us here on our college basketball preview show. I don't even know that we have a second to catch our breath because we've just been going one to the other all morning long. You want to give me a quick thumbnail on 3 teams that we've already profiled?
Towson going to be a CAA contender. Tyler Tejada is going to be not just one of the best players in the CAA, but one of the best players in mid-major basketball this season. Loyola does not have a lot of size. And so that's going to really be a challenge for them, especially in a league like the Patriot League that tends to have a fair number of skilled big guys to have to go deal with. So I think that's going to be a theme, like it or not, as this season goes along. But it's a year 1, maybe even a year 0, if you want to call it that, for a team that really, really struggled last season and now has a new coach in Josh Leffler. And UMBC, there's continuity there. I think the schedule is it's not easy necessarily, but it's not overly arduous. There's 3 non-D1s in there. I think there's a chance that they can get off to a pretty good start and situate themselves as a team that can be in the top half of the America East this season.